What's up?
What's going on?
Sorry, it took a little bit of time.
That's all good.
Oh, yeah, we got to do our little. Yeah, right
Oh,
here.
you want to do it? You want me to do it?
I don't know. You always do it. We got to do that. Oh, I think you already took it. Okay.
Who,
What's up,
you or
dude?
me? You good? You good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yes, make sure you tag me on it. What's up, Caleb?
What's up, Curtis?
How you doing, man?
Good. I had a great trip to Branson. It was a work retreat that I was filming, and then Kansas City. So I'm just getting
There
off
we
of vacation
go.
time for the past
Heck
week.
yeah. I just got back from Austin.
All right.
Well, was it actually Sunday? Yeah, Sunday evening. So I feel that
What were you doing there?
I went to a car race at Circuit of Americas. We got invited. I have a 4-year-old son that is a huge car guy, and this Porsche team invited us to be a part of their crew for the weekend and have full access and everything. It was amazing. It was so much fun.
Sweet.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, it was sick. So yeah, I still got I got tons of content and I gotta figure out when to post all that and make all that stuff.
He
But
had his videographer come with him and video the whole thing. So
yeah.
that way he didn't have to like worry about taking photos and all that good stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I
well,
mean, I still have a ton for myself, but
we'll get this studio set
anyways,
up eventually, so I don't have to deal with 10 minutes of setup that I just did there. But it's all right because my
that's
office
all
is
good.
completely torn apart at the moment, Curtis. So are you good, comfortable?
Perfect.
He's an audiovisual guy, so I feel like he's gonna overthink the setup here. So
No, this is where you got the Opal camera.
yeah, it's
That
good
does
enough,
wonders.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, Caleb Duncan, tell us about
Love it.
yourself, a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. My name is Caleb. I'm a photographer and videographer here in Omaha. Outside of that, I do a lot of community building. Um, love to love to make art out of life and bring people together and hopefully help inspire people and get inspired by others. So yeah, I started doing photo and video at UNL as a sophomore. I was advertising and public relations manager or public relations major, minored in business and psychology, and picked up photo and video like my sophomore year when I took a class and absolutely fell in love with it.
So you didn't do any like video or photo before that?
Uh,
Oh, cool.
I was always the friend that would like pull my phone out, especially as like photos and you could take photos and videos with a camera or with your phone. I was always a friend that would pull it out and try and capture all the moments of,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
hanging out and stuff like that, or hey, let's go make a short film. So I always had like that knack of, guys, this is cool. Let's take pictures and remember it. And then when I took a class, after that, I just fell in love with being able to pull smiles and authenticity out of people. And for people to be that, to be able to do it to me. And here we are, just like, just picked up a camera a couple weeks ago and, go out to the park for a photo shoot. Um, and we were getting some of the best pictures we ever had of each other. We're
Cool.
like, this is so cool. I wonder if I could take this full time. So from that, started posting on Craigslist was where I first got clients.
Wow.
Yep. Booked senior pictures for like $300 for an hour. And I was like, oh my God, this is possible. They love the pictures. I love taking the pictures and the money. And I was like, dang, okay, this might be something that I could, pursue.
So how long ago was that you kind of started turning this into a business?
This would have been 2017. 2016 was when I technically started my business, basically just a Facebook page,
Oh,
and told my friends and stuff, hey, I'm here to take some pictures, worked with sororities, a lot of different sororities back
nice.
in the day, just like corralling 100, 150 young women to take pictures. And I was kind of good at it and
Mm,
they enjoyed it. I was like, okay, if I got that skill set and I can be good with people on one, um, yeah, let's see what I can do with this. Was kind
cool.
of the, yeah.
So 2017, like how long did it take you to go from like this is fun and I'm making some money and I'm kind of good at it to realizing like I actually need to like run this like a business and put systems into place and do things like that?
So I moved when I graduated from UNL. I moved here. I worked at Yahoo, which was Oath. It was Yahoo and AOL just down the street over here.
Oh,
Basically a glorified collections analyst. Didn't really like it. I had a good team. We had buffet every day. We had a nice place to walk. It was a relatively easy job, but I realized quickly I hate the corporate world.
mm,
I hate having to wake up at a certain time, clock out at a certain time. do things that I'm not passionate about.
Hmm.
And I realized so many people in that world and friends that, you know, jump to different careers and starting their first full-time jobs, that it wasn't what I wanted it to be. I was getting paid a decent amount of money but yeah, anyways, I was like, I do not want to do this. So I took it upon myself to see how fast I could take this full time. For
Cool.
me, that was at the end of 2019,
Hmm.
where I jumped ship from there. I pretty much just had 10 grand saved up and I had enough bookings for the rest of the in 2020 where I was like, okay, I can make this. And if I don't, like, I can go door to door and see if people need photo and video. I can do a lot of different things to help make this happen. But long story short, I was eager for the risk and I'm a big risk taker.
Cool. Love it.
And then COVID hits and savings gets drained immediately. No shoots for 4 or 5 months. So that,
No.
yeah, so that sucked.
Oh.
So you do more like people, portrait, weddings, that type of thing versus like landscape, like cityscape, that type of stuff.
Yeah, mostly working with people. A good amount of real estate, whether that's like for a residential real estate person, commercial, the architect, the general contractor. So there's different layers of who needs what type of photo and video. That's one niche, but for the most part, weddings, businesses, and lifestyle are really what I focus on.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a different skill set with people versus because I love photography as well, but I don't do people weddings. I have zero desire to do that type of stuff. It's more like going to New York City and taking cool pictures of the buildings and landscape type stuff versus in the moment capturing all that. So I commend you for that because I think that is so much harder what you're doing versus stills of landscape.
Well, and it is cool, like you said. I mean, like, you shot my OCC party, that house that I had. And, you have to like pay attention when you walk around and like see people smiling and having fun and like capturing that right moment, like you said too. Whereas a building is just like, oh, this building's not going anywhere. I can just take this picture. And you have to actually sort of like be on your game to spot the right moments to take those pictures. So
Yeah, if you miss the moment, it's gone.
yeah, right.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's a big thing that I pay attention to is like you keep your head on a swivel to see where's the vibe going, where's the light hitting, what emotions are taking place, what would be the group that I would want to go up and talk to.
Mm.
You know, are they having a good time? Are they, oh, they've got big smiles on, or they're patting each other on the back, or if it's a wedding and you see grandma coming in and she's getting ready to give a big hug to her to the bride, like being able to see that kind of happen and like, oh, okay, this is going to be sweet. I know this is going to happen. What's a good setup with the light and everything? And then it's a matter of just clicking it many times.
And that's exhausting though too. Like you're probably all over the place at a wedding and even parties too. You can't just like stand in the corner and take some photos.
Yes, to an extent, but also like it's such a flow state for my heart and mind to be in a place where there's all these different vibes going on. And so I'm thinking about where's the best place for lighting, where's my focus at, what's the white balance at? Okay, those are all good. And then it's feeling into this whole scene that's playing out and being a fly on the wall a lot of the time and also helping direct or influence the vibe in a way.
Cool.
So it's a definite flow state. Like a lot of people think that, oh, it'd be so tiring and things like that. And sometimes it is, but a lot of the times it's so ingrained in me and life in general and in the photos to let's help make golden vibes and capture the golden vibes around us.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean it's like us too. Like when I work on a Sunday all day, I'm not really ever tired about it because that's just kind of what I'm passionate about and what I love doing. So it's the same thing,
Yeah.
I imagine. So
100%. What brings you like joy? Where does your kind of passion stem from in your life and work?
So like most realtors will say, I'll be curious your answer on this too, Curtis, but like most people would say like, oh, first time home buyers because they have so much joy and they're so happy and all that. I hate that. Not the whole happiness and joy part, just the first time home buyer part, because I don't really want to deal with that. There's just too many questions involved. But like, I mean, simple joys are like today, this lady reached out to me. She's a past client of mine. Her brother's wife had passed away and they want to sell the rental house next door. And like, they're kind of being screwed by the tenant. The tenant wants to buy it. And I just like, so she reached out to me to just ask a couple questions. I'm not going to make any money off that, right? But I don't care about that. Like, I really want people, and that's kind of what brings me joy because it solidifies that I built a relationship with them where they trust me and they want to call me and just ask any of those real estate questions. Like, I want them to reach out to me and ask, like, who do I use for waterproofing? We had that storm and my basement had water in it. Like, because then again, that means that I solidified that and they trust me with everything real estate related, not just when they want to buy or sell a house, but with anything real estate related. So
Yeah.
I would say that's mine.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Yeah, it's that trust that I had somebody call me this weekend that I sold to years ago, and they just asked for advice on just the process or what should we do here and just help them with life decisions. But I will say, like, since I have my son, that has been an absolute passion. Like, we got invited to that race this weekend in Austin, and I swear that was like some of the most fun I've ever had, just sharing those moments with him. And just like, he's diehard cars, and we had full access to the Porsche garage and seeing them work on the cars and start them all up. And Cal Pal got to sit in the car, and like, that was just like, real estate doesn't compare to that. I'll be completely honest. But that was yeah, my son is definitely like my pride and joy for my life. So um it's a little bit of both. Work and fun stuff is
Absolutely.
definitely that. So
So I'm a big believer in like morning routine, like waking up, I make my bed. Thanks, mom. She taught me that. That's my nice little check the box for the day. And then, I do morning affirmations, I stretch, I do things like that. And I think that kind of drives a lot of us that way.
Mhm.
Curtis, I know you kind of have your own little morning routine too. I mean, sometimes they differ and sometimes I want to sleep in or whatever, right? But like, what do you have like a typical morning routine that you wake up with, or you kind of scattered all over the place? Like, how does that work for you?
I would say historically scattered all over the place.
Okay.
Being able to set my own schedule and go to sleep when I want and wake up when I want is amazing. But also at the same time, like I have such more productive days when I get started earlier. And
Right.
earlier for me is like if I can get started by 8, well, that's awesome. If I can get started by 7, even better. I feel like the more that I scooch it back, I'm not gonna wake up at 6 and
Absolutely
do
not.
all that.
No.
That's not me. But if I can like start my day kind of then. So I would say typical, I'll wake up at 7:30 or 8. I love to get sunlight first thing in the morning. I love all the podcasts on human optimization. How do you maximize different pieces of our life? So like waking up, get sunlight, make a cup of coffee, take a walk. Sometimes doing like a breath work meditation.
Cool.
That can be a great way to kind of just jumpstart the day and get into a good vibe. Coffee, walk, outdoors, and then pretty much that's it.
What do you do in the winter?
Pace around the house.
Okay.
Pace around the house.
With
Yeah.
one of those like sunlights over your head,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do some stretching, not like big stretching, but like, some of this. Yeah, you know how it is.
Yes.
And then it's like, what are the most like tasks that I absolutely need to get done? What's going to set my day up big time? So like sometimes it's creative, sometimes it's photo and video editing. It's like I really need to put some work on this video here. Let's plug in for an hour. Or I need to get these few galleries of photos done. So let's sit down, let's put my phone to the side, let's throw a podcast on and then just crunch through what I can there. So I'd say 30 minutes to an hour tops of like, okay, we're awake again, we're back in this stream. Let's see what I can, get feeling good again. And then pretty much straight into work from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of podcasts, because you've said that a lot, is there like top 1 or 2 that you're vibing on right now?
There's a lot.
Okay.
Rogan obviously is a
Yeah.
great podcast.
Yeah.
Love the people that he brings on. Anything to have to do with like the convergence of science, spirituality, religion, human optimization, things like that. I love stuff like that as well as business. So like
Cool.
what are tactical, practical things you can do within your business and with your life to set yourself up for success? So
And it's funny how much those 2 will play into each other.
always.
I mean, you and I were just talking about that before we got on, that like he hasn't been to the gym in a couple days because he's been out of town. I haven't been in town, but my trainer's been gone, so I blame him. And you get into a mood, like you drink, you eat, you hang out, whatever, but then like the next day you just feel like crap, and then that affects your business. And like for me, it's weird. Like, I don't know, that actually affects my confidence level. So it affects like my ability to like feel like I can sell the world and do all that. So it's
Yeah.
that plays like a big part in if my business is going to be successful or not. So I love that those 2 kind of get intertwined.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, and I think being a business owner, making your own schedule, you still have to time block and be on schedule, even though you're, kind of making your own. And I think, yeah, any type of entrepreneur has that same dilemma of like, oh, I could sleep in today, but I got stuff to do, and
Right.
even within our business too.
And if I don't do it now, then I'm going to push it back. These are things that I have to get done. So do I want to be more anxious in the future? And,
Right.
that can go all the way to like, I have a lot of fires to put out now. And I've, 8 years of doing this and 5 years full time. I've been through the swings and the ups and downs of like work until 2 a.m., up by 7, working all dang day.
I know sometimes I see you on Facebook Messenger and I'm like, what? Like, why are you awake? And you're like, I'm editing videos, man. Got stuff to do. And so you're just sitting there just knocking it out, getting it done because you have to, right?
Yep.
Are you more of a guy that, hey, I have 50 things to do today. These 5 are the hardest. I'm going to push those to the end of the day. Or are you more, I'm going to knock out the hard stuff at the beginning of the day and then kind of coast through the easier stuff?
I would say traditionally I will put off the big stuff longer than I should, but I'm coming I'm coming back to like,
Okay.
okay, what are those quick things I can do that'll set myself up? Do I need to get these responses out or initiate these things? With the editing, it's like because the majority of my job is editing and I'm trying to outsource more of that so that I can do more sales, so I can do more going on retreats like I was in Branson and shooting that.
Can you
Um,
outsource off topic
Yeah.
to like, is like AI that advanced yet where it can edit your videos, or do we not trust that yet?
Not really videos. There's platforms like InVideo.ai that will completely with AI make the art, find the stock photos and videos,
No.
put together like a full-on video using just voice. You could type in something, you could type in a script for it to say. And then you can select the voice that you want. Do you want that British man voice? Do you want that American woman voice? What voice do you want? And then say, this is the vibe, these are the types of clips that I want, and it will throw together a video for you in 2 minutes.
Well, that's cool.
It's crazy. So for me, what I use Aftershoot AI is a sweet photo editing platform. It'll go through, cull all the photos you take during a session, learn your your editing style, and then it will edit all those. But you still get it down. It's still not super great with selecting all the best pictures. So I still have to go through and select the best ones. It's not perfectly tuned to my editing style, so I still have to go through and do that. So it's gotten to a good place and I can keep training it.
That's neat though.
It's neat. And then there's also like human people that you can outsource to. And I've done that for videos, for photos. It's hard as a creative to relinquish that control because you want it to be perfect. It's got to be cropped a certain way. It's just got to be this warm. This video, the clips have to, end at the certain point and the flow's got to be good. But as you scale and as I'm, trying to unlock different levels of my business,
Right.
you have to be comfortable with relinquishing some of that control. You can put out a, gallery of photos that are 85%, and that'll take you a certain amount of time. To get up to 100%, I could be there all dang day going forward and back. It's a little bit too warm now. The contrast needs to be a little bit more. And then I return to the next day and I'm like, what was I thinking yesterday? And then you go through and
Right.
tweak it. So the client's going to be in love with that 85, 95%. If I put an extra 3-4 hours into making it just
Yeah,
look
they're probably not
absolutely
even gonna
perfect,
know.
they don't notice.
Right.
And it's like
And it's that happy balance, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I was up till 3 editing all those pictures, and I could have just closed the computer at 11 and they would have been perfect. So it's definitely a balance there, and I'm sure you
Right.
experience similar things
Oh,
in your
100%.
life, in your business.
Big control freak.
Yeah,
So really hard to give up control.
yeah.
Done is better than perfect in my world. That's what I'm also a control freak. I think we all have that in common, and I'm a perfectionist as well, as I'm sure both of you are, and that is a big mindset shift of like, let's just get it done. It's good enough. I mean, it's still great, but it's not perfect. But I don't know. That's something for me too. I'm like, it has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. But you don't really notice the difference between 90% and 100%, or at least the consumer
Yeah.
usually
even
doesn't,
though-
or doesn't care.
Yeah, even though we would, you're right. Like the consumer won't. Like I could read through my remarks 500 times and be like, oh, I hate that. I want to use different words, this, that, whatever. But obviously, ChatGPT writes most of my remarks now. But like, I mean, we could overthink all of that, right? But obviously, you gotta take into consideration you run a business, and like you said, you have to scale, so you have to be able to give that up, And there's just that whole time versus money thing. I mean, there's a whole list of things that I do that I should not do, that are not worth my time. But I'm a control freak, and I want to do it, and I want to make sure it's done the right way.
Yeah,
So, but
100%. And I just hired my first 2 VAs, virtual assistants.
oh, you did, cool.
Yeah, in the past like
Nice.
3 weeks. So with one of them, I'm onboarding with go through Apollo.io, go through Google and other sites, specifically Apollo. Check that out. It'll basically, you can create a list of all different types of leads that you want. So great leads for me are businesses. It could be real estate people that are trying to get their branding and they want photos and videos for that. I love working with like holistic health spaces.
Cool.
So what businesses that are local and abroad, can I work with that need that banner video for their website? They're using all stock photos for their stuff. They've got headshots from back in 2010. They don't have a company mission video. Their social media is kind of lacking in a lot of ways. So what I'll do is put them up, get them on the phone if I can. So this is what he's doing is send out these kind of automated emails, but have it flavored
What's
in my
Apollo?
style.
Does it tell you
Apollo.io.
all that?
It's
Oh,
basically like AI lead generation.
that's
It's
neat.
it's one of the best that I've found. And you can segment out lists based on what industry, what is the title of the person,
Cool.
what's their buyer's intention, all these different things. And you can create lists from there. And then you can set up automated emails to go out to them, which some of them you do want automated, like the follow-ups and stuff. Some of them you might want to personalize it. So you can do all that within there. Yeah, so just a little bit of lead generation that I've done this year, which is new for me. I would always just sit on my heels and wait for word of mouth and referral,
Right.
and that's great. You know, I'm very grateful to have enough business coming in that way.
What would you say your business is now referral to, non-referral, like that you get from?
90%.
Oh, that's awesome.
referral.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, pretty much almost all of it. But I'm trying to change that. Like I still want to have that piece, but if I want to hit, you know, revenue goals, 200 and 300K, goals to hit 200 this year. If I can't, I'm not going to do that sitting on my heels waiting for
Yeah.
clients to come to me.
Right.
So let's get in front of those businesses, those retreats, those spiritual based workshops, those, you know, I would love to be a content creator for, you know, a businessman who travels on, you know, private jets and goes and does all this different stuff. I could be his photographer. Do a
Cool.
dang good job at it. So I'm trying to kind of move into that space of more of that lifestyle business branding stuff and just have kind of more of select few clients that I'm working with instead of I'll do your real estate photos for your house, I'll do your family pictures, I'll do all
Right.
these. I love doing all that stuff. I like doing a lot of that stuff. There's stuff that I love more, which is like exciting experiences.
And I think that's kind of a neat like evolution in everybody's business when you start to not just have to take everything that comes in, right? But you take on stuff that's more of like a pad. Like, cause I don't know, I tell people all the time, like, I mean, I don't take my success for granted, but like every time that I'm like sitting here and I'm thinking like, in fact, it's funny, I was just in Tyler Struck, we were both talking about how like after I have a couple closings this week, like none of us are gonna have any pendings, right? And that's kind of frightening. And all these thoughts go through your head like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to like pay for my car or pay for this or do that or do whatever. And then like I sit down and I get like 4 phone calls, right? It's like
Yeah.
the universe kind of takes care of my business because I've taken care of it for so long that I'm not really worried about that. So I love taking on like now stuff that's like I love selling difficult properties, not like overpriced ones, but just like ones that need to tell a story and things like that. I mean, you've seen like what I've sold. So I like stuff
Yeah.
like that that's like a challenge more than just like this gal wants me to sell 2 little boutique grocery stores for her in small towns. And I'm like, I love this actually because I think it's gonna be kind of a lot of fun and I don't know when I'm gonna make a ton of money on it, but like those are cool, like passion things that challenge me and kind of keep me going.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun when your business takes that little bit of an evolution so you can kind of choose stuff you want to do versus having to do everything.
Yes,
So-
you said that very well. And like being able to choose who you go in business with and what kind of projects and stuff that you're going towards, the universe is going to provide. And I know for you and for me, we've been very fortunate to build up awesome businesses where money comes in and business comes in, you get to work with a lot of awesome people. But when you get to the point where you can select who you want to work with and be more intentional about how you get in front of them, you're flexing that sales experience and that your
Right.
sales skills. And also you can land some pretty top tier awesome projects.
Right.
And then you take all of that you've learned to the next jobs. And, you know, maybe it's a small grocery store in a small town, you know, Nebraska now. You might be moving on to big, awesome stores like that because you got
Selling
the
Hy-Vees.
expertise. Yeah. Hy-Vees.
No, I know, and it all builds up those experiences.
Yeah.
So you have 2 things that you do, well, that I've noticed that you do that I would call, I guess I would say passion or hobby for you, right? And I know one of them is manifest, and that obviously goes into kind of what you're talking about with spiritual and science and everything else. Talk a little bit about that, like kind of what got you interested in that and how that also helps your business if it does.
Yeah. So I had an idea for starting a networking group that was centered around spiritual, personal, and professional development for a couple of years now. I did a lot of networking at the Chambers, Center Sphere, lots of different places here around town. And I was missing the emotional vulnerability. I was missing people actually becoming friends and making connections.
Mm.
And surely I've got a ton of great friends and acquaintances from those experiences, but I'm a big conspiracy theorist. I'm a newfound, you know, seriously, we could dive on into that if you want to. Um, and also like never really believed in God my whole life and had trouble like finding a religion that made sense to me. And obviously we live in a beautiful world with nature and all these different mechanisms and physics and everything that's like allowing for the world around us and
Right.
allowing for blood to run through my body and me to think and articulate clearly right now. That's magic. That's absolute magic. And so I came back to finding God back probably 4 years ago. And God to me is consciousness. God to me is everything.
Can I ask what your moment was that made you find that? Did something happen?
Yes, I was in meditation on May 1st, 2020. This is after listening to many podcasts, learning about the densities of consciousness, how consciousness, like densities are basically levels of consciousness. It also relates to our DNA. And as you activate more of your DNA strands and spirals of your DNA, they go up as octaves, each rung of DNA.
Oh,
And it also relates to our chakra system, which looks like a rainbow and it's just different energy centers that govern part of our bodies. There's a lot of information at once, and I was starting to make sense of it. And in this 4 hour podcast, I'm putting puzzle pieces together. I'm like, oh my God, it makes sense. Like all is one. There's no hierarchical God that's outside of us. God is literally within here. And you don't have to call it God. You can call it universe or source. For me, that fits better because God's got some baggage for me. And so
that's
like,
like me. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I came to realize like, oh, it's not giving up my power, it's empowering me.
Mm.
And we're all in this together. We're all one. So I was in a meditation after this, and the guy asked, invite God and Jesus into your life. If you never have before, that's okay. Invite him in. And I'm like, oh, okay. God, Jesus, come to me. And he's saying, imagine your whole body being filled with light, and they're coming to you. There's David Wilcock meditation. And I did. And I believed it. And I believed that, oh, Jesus was me a long time ago. Like he was spreading the same message that Buddha and Muhammad and Ram Dass and all these different people are spreading. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, God, Jesus, come into my life. When that happened, I felt my whole body light up. I came to realization later, I think was a Kundalini awakening, which means there's energy coiled in the bottom of our spine called Kundalini. This shoots up your spine and it's kind of the trigger to an upgrade in consciousness.
Oh, wow.
It's happening to everybody on the planet right now. For some people, it's instantaneous. For some people, it's a longer drawn out thing. I didn't know what was going on in my body. I just felt like whole body lighting up and I felt happy tear or I cried happy tears. And when I awoke from that meditation, it was like waking up in a dream and completely sober at the time. I've had some psychedelic experiences that were awesome. This was completely sober and like, oh, when I could combine the belief and the logic and it all makes sense and I believe it, that's what the trigger was for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was pretty cool. And so like that, helping share that with people, helping other people find, whether it's God or universe, a higher power, divinity, helping people find that for me is a big motivator and a big passion because like for me, it was willy-nilly just going through life, not really connecting to something bigger than myself or all of us. And when I did that, I was like, boom, okay, this is really, really cool. I have got many skeptical friends, many friends that have fallen away from whatever religion they were brought up with. If I can bring in a fresh new take on all this, I found it to be, and other friends that I talked to, it can be a very life-changing experience. So back to Manifest Omaha, had this idea of starting a group like this, connected with a friend, Sam Neiman, who I ended up starting the group with. Back last July, we're talking about what would this group look like? Let's have workshops where we center a spiritual based activity with something in the professional development. How do you create social media reels? How do you structure your business? How do you implement systems? Can we also do a breathwork meditation or a chat about really deep personal stuff with a group of
Cool.
And we had so we started that Facebook group January 11th this year. And at our first event, we had 70 people there. And we've grown the group to 2.2 thousand people.
Oh, wow.
And it's really cool to see all these different ideas and businesses and people just become friends in there and have an open space to share everything from what is a Merkaba to, is all love and light a good practice? To is the moon landing real or fake? That's a fun one. And then how could we all spur engagement with each other? So long story short, that was the gist of it. And we've had monthly events since then and a few other offshoot events, and we've had anywhere from 40 to 70 people show up at each one.
Cool.
Yeah. So I
love
love it.
that. That's cool.
That's amazing.
Thanks, man.
And that's truly a passion project because there's no money involved in that. It's just a lot of time that you're putting into it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that that's already like helping a lot of people here.
Yeah.
So
there was a big void in Omaha for something like this that exists. And a lot of people in the spiritual space, you could say, whether it's holistic medicine or whatever, maybe just curious people. There wasn't a hub for people to learn from, for people to share ideas around this. I was like, okay, this person wants it too. And I just met this person and they're like, I don't know of anything. And then this person, but soon you get to 30 plus people that you've met over time and they're like, there's nothing, I really
you're
want
like,
to show off my
this is a
stuff.
need. Yeah.
I want to make friends within this space. I was like, okay, well, screw it. So I guess a big thing for me when starting it was coming up with a name, because I'm a big branding guy. Branding, marketing, what message do you get out to the world and how do you do it effectively? When I got the name Manifest Omaha, it was actually my uncle that gave me, it's like, hey, I had a friend that in Austin that started something similar, but it was all in the tech space. And he called them Manifest Barbecues or something like that. When he said that, I was like, oh, manifest. Because that's what we're doing. Like, whether we realize it or not, we're manifesting, which means you're taking a thought and bringing it into reality. You're doing that every time that you're, working on deals and helping this homeowner go and move into a new home, completely shifting their life, And like, that's a big, big thing. So I think that we're all manifesting all the time, but how often are we being intentional about it? How often are we, this is what I want to manifest? For a lot of people, not often. For me, it wasn't very often. So yeah, manifest, and then let's keep it local. So Manifest Omaha. And that just rang. I was like, okay, that's what we're running with. Typed out the description while I was eating sushi. Sent it out to all my friends. It was like 8 o'clock at night on, I think, a Thursday. And then within like 3 days, we had 500 people in there.
Sweet.
First event, we had 1,000 people in there. So yeah, it was one of the coolest things recently where here's an idea. Let's bring it out into the world. And then the world, in a lot of ways, or at least here in Omaha and my friends, it was people could go to. And now it's like, it's bigger than myself. It's bigger than Sam. And that's what we wanted.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you want out of everything.
100%.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. Is it a community? Is it basically like an online thing, or do you guys meet in person and get together and do yoga or meditation or anything like that together?
Both. Yeah. So our Facebook group is for people to share their events, ideas, resources. And there's probably 10-ish posts a day in there, all around different subjects like that. And then once a month, we do workshops, Manifest Omaha meetups, where we'll rent out a space. We'll put together who's going to teach something on the spiritual side, who's going to teach something on the professional side. For instance, the first one we did, I taught a workshop on Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese word for your reason for being. It's imagine a 4-sided Venn diagram with what are you good at, what do you enjoy doing, what does the world need, and how can you make money. So we did an exercise where we printed out. Yeah, so we printed out these 5x7s for everybody, and then I gave just a little talk about that. Before then, we prefaced it with a breathwork meditation that Annie Gratera led. Really awesome, 15-20 minutes with strangers in the room, 70 strangers in the room, and you're like breathing and getting centered, and then into the workshop, and it got really vulnerable with people, people they've never met. People raising their hand. What if I'm not doing anything that's on this list? What if they don't love what they're doing? There was a lot of that, and then there's just the conversation we had from that were sweet, and I'd never had that in a room full of strangers before, and I feel like a lot of people.
Yeah, that's cool.
The next one was on personal branding, in person and offline. The next one was on bartering. How can you be an exceptional barterer and trading and the value of that? And then the one that we did most recently was how Megan Hale taught this. I actually met her. I was on a talk show like 3 weeks ago, and I met her there. And she is all about how do you scale your business, specifically for women solopreneurs. How can you scale your business and get to 250K in revenue? How can you set up an offer and then drive traffic to that offer? What systems can you help in place with delegation, outsourcing, social media? to really get your thing there. And she had an exceptional story to share. But like that's the kind of stuff that we want to talk about and I feel like are needed. So when we're going about like planning different types of events, what feels like the natural evolution of the next thing that people need that I need personally, in the professional space or the workshop space. And yeah, so just thinking about that and screw it, let's do it. Let's hire this person to bring on. We've got the space secured. We charge $20 per event for people to come. We're still kind of in the red because we get food and drinks and buy the space, but it doesn't matter to us.
Yeah,
Like
right.
we'd like to if
Yeah.
we could eventually get a
Yeah, it's not
profit of
about
some
that,
sort,
right.
but it's like this is such a cool experience.
Yeah.
Let's run and then eventually let's get the template down here and connect with other organizations nationwide that are doing
Sweet.
this. Maybe we could have a Manifest Austin, Manifest Kansas City, things like that.
Yeah, and then that can really become bigger than you. And yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Now I'm mad.
That is amazing.
Now I'm mad I haven't gone to one. But
You'll come to one.
Yeah, you got to go to one, dude. I need to get involved too. That sounds
oh,
life changing, really, for a lot of people.
What has your guys' experience with a higher power, with God, the divine, however you label it, but what has been your guys' experience with that?
I'll let you go first on that, Curtis.
Gosh. Okay. Well, so I grew up in the Christian church world. My parents they were part of like the music staff. So I kind of grew up in that whole Christian world, ever since I could remember. So that's been kind of my big, I mean, since I was little, kind of grew up in that world. And I think as you get older, you get your own ideas and thoughts. And I mean, I still believe in God and higher power and all that kind of stuff. But, there's been some difficulties in, I guess, the church specifically. And some churches I mean, there's people and people are broken and people have their own ideas and stuff like that. So I think I got a bad taste in my mouth of the church world. But I still believe in some sort of higher power and kind of what you're talking about and just the universe manifesting and all that kind of stuff. I'm a big believer in like goals and vision boards and, kind of like you manifesting like what you want your life to look like. And you can do anything that you want in life if you believe it really, at the end of the day. So, that's definitely a hard question to really, I haven't thought a whole lot about, I haven't gone super deep or been in any one of those, but I've done yoga, some meditation and prayer, that kind of stuff. But I went through a divorce a few years ago, and I think that kind of tainted a little bit of that church world, I guess you could say. And I haven't really been back. So I don't know. Maybe it's time for a fresh start and get into something else.
Rock on. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
Mine could be a lot longer, but I'll try and sum that up. So when my parents were married, my dad was not really a great dad. Like he'd work out of town Monday through Friday, come home on the weekend. He would be there but not there. Parents divorced, dad left us. Found God one night in a hotel room, came home, phenomenal dad for like 2 years. Had no money, which was different, but he was like a phenomenal dad. He was there for everything. He wouldn't even like miss a minute of a baseball game, like all that. But he was a huge God believer at that point. And so I went to all these different churches with him, like the ones where they like speak tongues and all that good stuff and blah, 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 right? That was weird at the time. And then 2 years later, my dad died. And so I've always wondered, like, why couldn't he have just passed away when he was the terrible father? Then I probably wouldn't have been as sad, right? But the fact that he came in was like awesome for 2 years and then taken away from me. And he was this huge believer in God too. That kind of like, I'll say, ruined my relationship with this so-called God.
Mhm.
And the interesting thing is, like, I love what this manifest thing is now that I hear more about it, because like I love these churches now that are popping up all over Omaha that are like that love church or whatever, where it's really not about you have to kneel, you have to stand, you have to go get this piece of bread, you have to do this. It's like very, regulated.
Yeah.
And it's literally just like a room full of people that are just happy and they're celebrating each other and they're there for each other and they're just singing and having fun. And that's kind of what you're creating there. You have a lot more substance to yours than what I just described there, but I mean, it's an environment for people who, like Curtis said, believe in something else, but I don't really know what that is exactly, but I know that there's something there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to like feel like, especially in the Midwest, it's like, oh, you're not married yet, you're 34, like what's wrong with you? Like, oh, you don't go to church? Like, why not? Like, you should go to church. Like,
Yeah.
And that's just a very big thing here in the Midwest. So I don't know if that's as big of a deal in Arizona, but that's, I mean, religion's obviously huge here. So, I don't like the regulated, like you have to follow all these rules and do this, do that. I think people can be great people. They can give back to the community. They can donate to charity, do all that stuff, which is literally what they tell you to do in their little book.
Mhm.
But yet if I don't go to like the building or do this or do that, I'm like not as good of a person as them. So that's why I like different things like this. And that's what I think is kind of changing a lot of that is like, it's giving people a space to like unload that information and be around people who deal with kind of the same things they do and stuff like that. So, which the church doesn't even let you do.
Yeah.
So that's why that's really cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Where can we find your resources or the Facebook group, or if someone wants to join that's listening right now, where can they find all your info and get in touch with you and the group like that?
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook, Caleb Duncan, Instagram, Caleb Dunks with a K, KLEBDUNCS. My photo and video page is Caleb D Photography, and Manifest Omaha. We're on Facebook, free to join. Manifest Omaha, you'll find us. And then we have an Instagram too, Manifest Omaha. I would suggest going through some of the stuff that we have on Instagram, because what I'll do is find some of the people that can explain and articulate this stuff far better than I can and give lots of different perspectives. And I don't think anybody has the full answer of this is God, this is how the universe operates. Nobody does. Even the gurus, everybody you listen to, we're all figuring it out. I am trying to put together all these different minds and hearts and people to help us all understand and help myself understand more about the world. So yeah, go check us out, Manifest Omaha. You'll find us. We've got a website in the works. It'll be live by our next event, which is the week of September 23rd. We haven't fully nailed it down yet, but that's going to be at Elevator Spaces, all on video content creation.
Cool.
Yeah, my friend Ryan Price, he's got like 650,000 followers on TikTok, and creates awesome videos, inspirational videos, brand deals, and stuff like that. So he's going to be teaching on that, and we'll have a meditation along with it. So
Cool.
yeah, plug on in. Would love to
Love
see you
that.
guys at some of those.
Well, the
Heck
last thing
yeah.
I want to ask you is what does 2025 hold for Caleb and everything he's doing?
Yes, love that question. I am going to fully automate every piece of my business that I can automate. So when leads come in, having somebody that can help respond to them, keep on top of inbox, automate invoices, contracts, things like that. Just admin work that takes up too much of my time. I want to figure out how to create more of a lean team to help with editing different things. And I want to travel. I want to travel the world, and I want to be able to take care of most of my business while I'm in Bali, while I'm in South America.
Love that.
Yeah, so that's the goal, is let's hit my revenue goals and at the same time work less, and be more intentional about where I'm putting my work and my time. And then I want to see Manifest Omaha explode.
Mm.
I want to create the most badass spiritual group of people. And it doesn't, even if you're not spiritual, you could be not spiritual whatsoever. You're curious or weird like I am. We want to be that home for people. So
That's funny. That's great.
Dude,
though.
this was great.
I know.
I love this.
Great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming
Great.
on, man.
I appreciate you guys
go.
bringing me on.
No,
Heck
this-
yeah.
yeah, that was awesome. I feel like those are the conversations that Joe Rogan has on his show.
Yeah, and we could literally this could be a 2-hour conversation. I wish I didn't have to go right now.
Yeah, Bruce has
I'm already late, but at this point it doesn't matter.
No, you're not late. You still have time to get there. Just drive faster. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's why you have.
No, this was awesome. Heck yeah.
Well, you go show houses. We'll talk to you later.
I will. Let me get one more picture because I always do this way. All right, ready? Smile on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'll tag you on that.
Yeah,
Sick
and then-
stuff, dude. I can't. I'll next time I'm in Omaha, we got to link up.
Absolutely. I would
Yeah.
love to.
And
I
then
really
when-
appreciate you guys bringing me on.
When we actually edit this too, like, and then they post it, they'll throw all your tags in there too.
Heck yeah.
So
Yeah, and if
that's
you're ever in
dope.
Arizona, let me know.
Oh geez, no,
I would love to. Michael, let's go down to Arizona.
Hell
sometime
yeah.
and hang out with them.
I'll go to
Tell me
Arizona.
when, dude.
My favorite spot.
I'll take some badass pictures and videos of you guys too.
Let's
Sweet.
do it. You know I'm
Love
down.
it. All right. Well, good luck showing houses.
Good to meet you. Heck yeah. All right, man. I'll see you. I'm gonna
bro.
jump off. Later.
See ya.